Hello, Masa speaking. Today's topic is gain social intelligence from reading novels. So why should you care about social intelligence? Social intelligence is said to have a big impact on your salary. It regulates our emotions better and helps us be self-aware of the social situation. And you can get better promotion, better teamwork, more liked by coworkers. Basically, you become a popular guy at work. And one study even suggested increasing 1 point in EQ. In this case, it's emotional intelligence. It's similar to social intelligence. Would boost your annual salary by $1,300, which is not a small amount after 5 years or 10 years. Plus, you make more friends and have a quality time with them. There is a saying that you are the average of 5 friends that you're surrounded with. Friendship is a lifelong value, and you need to maintain it properly until you age. And if you have more social intelligence, then you can sense when they need you the most, and then you can give them like good advice or even a good gift. You can become party rock star. So parties everywhere. There's a family gathering. It's like more quiet type. There might be a distant relative that you have to talk to, even though you're not sure about it too much. Of course, house party with friends, corporate social night. It can be within the company, or you have to go to different events and network with other industry people. And there's of course a nightclub if you're youngsters. You gotta talk with ladies. Lastly, it makes you a better strategist. Understanding what people will do help you make a better bet. For example, I'm talking about investment here. So if everybody is going to buy this stock, for example, what's a popular stock right now? For example, with the coronavirus, everybody is thinking that flight company is very cheap, so people are buying it, and you might do the opposite. So if you think everybody's buying it, then you might actually sell that stock. There's a movie called Big Short, 2015. It's about some guys who knew the 2008 bubble would come, so they made short on some of the stocks, and in that bubble crash, they made tons of money. So you might become a millionaire in this scenario. Who knows? There's also a book called Narrative Economics. It's by Robert Shiller, who was a Nobel Prize winner. He promoted this idea, like that economics is not just about numbers, but there are a lot of emotions happening. So they are all social intelligence. So how do we boost it? So here's the research. So University of Toronto did it back in 2008. It's called Functional Fiction in the Abstraction. They wanted to understand, is there a point of reading fiction stories, or it's just entertainment? They say fictional story is a laboratory. So scientists use labs to make a change in chemical composition and temperature, for example. They might, in the controlled environment, they might make this ammonia out of these two chemicals and see what will happen. These are scientific experimentation. The researchers suggested fiction stories is the same thing. So it let us experiment people's minds. What do they want? What are they thinking? What are they feeling? And we cannot do that in the real life, even though that would be fantastic. No one is talking out their thoughts while they're walking. That would be a little crazy. We can only infer what that person, what other people are thinking about. there are all these sorts of things happening in your head. Let alone other people, it's really difficult to know your own mindset as well. What are you thinking actually, right? So it can be even said that you might know the fictional characters better than your real friends or even your family. These make situational experience possible too. So, for example, you might wonder what it's like to be in the war. It's not like you go all the way to Afghanistan or Iraq to experience what it's like to be in a war situation, how chaotic it will be. You would be using novel to experience something that's very difficult to achieve in the real life. This thing is also called theory of mind, mentalizing, mind reading, or adapting the intentional stance. These are just technical terms that describe this phenomenon about using fiction story as a laboratory of different people's mindset. So back in 330 BCE, 2,300 years ago, in Poetics, Aristotle wrote that history is what just happened before, and fiction is more important and generalizable. So that's how much he emphasized the importance of story writing. So how does it help specifically? It helps us predict. Social world is complex, just like weather forecast. So there's a simple case. So if a person falls in love, he will want to be united with a loved one. Or if someone wants to harm another, that other will want to retaliate. So this is simple causality. It's very easy to see. But what about these scenarios? So what if you're hurt by someone you love? Do you want to retaliate, or you want to be together still, or you want to split? All these questions start to come into mind. So story provides abstraction and explanation. So it's just like mathematics. It's abstraction of real world. It's a social law, basically how people interact in the daily life and try to extract the essence from it. So by simulating an interaction between story characters, prepare us for a similar interaction in the future. For example, can you imagine the type of breakup you're gonna have? Maybe. So maybe find out she is cheating, or someone like another mysterious guy text message you how this girl is cheating. Like that's easy to imagine, but is it a bit drastic? It would usually involve a complex scenario leading up to that event. It's not just one shock, even though that's usually a bomb part in the story. If you're watching TV, that's the excitement part, right? But you can think, like what is the cause? What are the events that led to that specific bomb to drop? Did you slack off going out on a date? Or did you do something nice for her? And if you have knowledge about this kind of complex social interaction, you can possibly catch the pattern before it actually happens. So that's prediction. So trauma. So this is the second benefit. It helps us comprehend the past. So narrative fiction brings our personal memories that are often emotional in nature, and by experiencing the story and re-experiencing the events, similar events in our past, we may come to a greater understanding of our emotion. So there's evidence that says simulating the experience depicted in fictional stories help individuals cope with the past personal difficulties. So this study is done back in 1996. A group of young women were asked to narrate their own or imaginary traumatic events to go through the emotional reactions. So the interesting part here is imagination could work as well. It doesn't have to be your own trauma, but just imagine some tragic events that happen to your family, and like think of the pain that involved, and it decreased the overall emotional distress related to those events. So that was overcoming trauma. What about different genres of novel reading? Is there any difference? So the researchers said, you don't read anything crazy. So does it have wizards, dragons, spaceships, barbarians, pirates, or any of those sorts crazy things? Stories that have those guys are usually a good sign that they rely too much on crazy plots. Anything cheesy should be avoided. Good story has characters that are realistic and they represent recognizable psychology. So it's not fake. So the story setting can happen anywhere, can be even in Mars or Moon. It just needs to have realistic characters. This psychological realism teaches us useful social information. And the story that promotes falsehood as good thing is not, good. That's just a propaganda. So romance is one area that isn't recommended. They say it's too artificial. And there is a downside too. So it's not that it's because they involve a lot of pirate ships. Apparently so. I don't read romance too much, to be honest. But I heard pirate is a very popular genre for ladies' books. And it's the idealized form of passionate romantic love. It just sets unrealistic expectations. So there was one study here that said women who read a lot of romance novels use less condoms. They put too much value on passion and over risk tolerance or risk management. What about spy and thrillers? They are often criticized as well as reliance on too much plot. But the researchers here said it otherwise. It involves monitoring different characters, like many characters, and you have to keep track of their motivations. So in spy movie, for example, they always double cross each other. They could, stab your back out of nowhere. Keeping track of all these scenarios help us learn help us lessons for real life deceptions that might happen. It lets us develop recursive levels of understanding others. It's known as second order or third theory of mind. It's fundamental to social evolution. So, in the real life, you won't be deceptive to the degree that you get stabbed in the back, but maybe you are the boss's favorite, and some of your co-workers who you used to hang out before a lot might find it not interesting, so they might get jealous and might say something not helpful to the boss. So it's just politics here, and spy and thriller genre helps you with that. So what should you do with this information? Obviously, you should read fiction books. More specifically, spy and thrillers are good too, even though they are criticized often in this literature genres. It can be certainly useful, even though there is no harsh deception like homicide in real life. People might have different motivation from you often. All these people have different, sometimes expect you of something different, and they have their own self-interest and they have their own altruism too, so they are not all just selfish people. They might help you too, but they don't sometimes work together. For example, Jason Bourne. I'm talking about the movie one here. The you know the, Mary constantly faces the choice. Should she just give him up, and should she drive away with the money given, or should she look after him? These choices always come in play with the movie. Jason Bourne constantly needs her help, right? If she gives up on him, he would have been caught long ago. So classic deception is cheating. 20 to 40% have cheated in marriage, according to the study. That's a lot more than many of you think, probably. It's the reality today. It's a little depressing, yeah, but it's important to keep that in mind when you get into a relationship as a possibility. Maybe look into literature of how to prevent or find a way to, or look into a way to find a better partner. And when you read novel, you should focus on the conversation aspect. It helps us prepare for the tough situation in the future. So instead of reading just a plot or interesting characters, you should engage in that dynamism of conversation, dynamism of people talking. So it's questionable thinking about war stuff. So it's a little bit questionable thinking about the early example about situational experience in Iraq or Afghan. It might help you decide who to vote, but in the real life, you want to get better at interrelationship stuff. Just give you a few examples. When you buy a new house and the neighbor's son is having a loud party every day, you don't want to call the police right away. That would just make it awkward forever. You might want to go to talk to him beforehand to turn it down. What if he says no? Or you need to negotiate the raise with the boss that you don't like and he doesn't like you. That kind of gets very tough, intense. Or your team member is accusing you of not putting enough work when you know that you are putting more effort than that person. That gets politics very quickly. Reading fiction helps us get ready for these kind of scenarios by going through imaginary situations through an author's carefully deliberated lab. Movies are okay too. Lastly, if you know your trauma, read related stories. PTSD is a serious issue. You should probably go to see a doctor. But most people have some kind of difficult memories we haven't coped it with well. So maybe you had a rough breakup before and you have some trust issues now, or you were bullied at school before, or you had a humiliating experience with a teacher, or because of the teacher. For example, when I was grade 9, I failed my art class. Ever since, I stayed away from anything to do with creativity. I told myself I'm not good at I'm not creative, so I just do what people are doing. I got scared. I got scared making anything new. But I made a book called Hard Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. It's quite a wicked title. It was a masterpiece though. It was so creative, and it was about how brains store information, and you can store this secret key in your subconsciousness. I learned that no one can judge your creativity. It's just your own perspective. It might be different in perspective, but it's yours. And especially teachers, they have no right to tell what's wrong or what's good or bad creativity, and reading helped me with that. So events in movies would be too short and simplistic. I would pick a fiction book where the main character goes through a similar experience with you. You make sure you like that character though. You get a lot more emotionally invested if you like the main guy. After digesting the emotional experience, you get much tougher. So that's the biggest takeaway from this video. So thanks for watching. If you like the video, please hit like or subscribe. I make videos about how to improve our lives through scientific findings. And please don't forget to check out Kaffae. It boosts your memory, critical thinking, and self-awareness by tracking online reading. So see you. Bye.